For years, cryptocurrency has felt like this massive battleground of ideas. Is it the future of finance, a total digital revolution that's going to remake our world? Or is it just a dangerous, unregulated casino? Well, that whole conflict is coming to a head, and it's forcing crypto to a critical crossroads. So, which path is it going to take? What is crypto really? Is it the next step in how we store value, a kind of digital gold for our modern age? Or is it all just a high-stakes gamble fueled by nothing but hype and speculation with no real value underneath? The answer you land on, well, it changes absolutely everything. So you've really got these two completely competing stories here. On one side, you have the promise, this vision of a new financial world, offering diversification, big growth, and access for people left out of the old system. But then, on the other side, you've got the peril, a speculative casino known for its wild volatility, its risk, and the constant threat of scams and manipulation. Let's start with the promise. So what is it about crypto that has some of the biggest, most established names in finance suddenly sitting up and paying very close attention? Let's dive into that optimistic vision for crypto as a legitimate and maybe even an essential financial asset. Now listen, this isn't some crypto evangelist on social media talking. This is State Street Global Advisors, a total pillar of traditional finance. They're looking at Bitcoin and seeing a tool for diversification and long-term growth. And did you catch that last part? Improving regulatory clarity. That right there is a massive signal that the whole game is changing. Okay, so one of the most powerful arguments for crypto, especially Bitcoin, is this idea of digital gold. The theory is simple. Just like physical gold, it can act as a safe place to park your money, a hedge against inflation and all the chaos in the markets. But unlike a bar of gold, you can send it anywhere in the world in minutes. It's that classic store of value, just rebuilt for the internet age. And this whole debate isn't just happening in corporate boardrooms, it's playing out everywhere. You jump on forums like Reddit, and people are having these exact same arguments. You've got one user putting a picture of a giant gaping gold mine next to a Bitcoin mine and asking, really? You prefer that? Others push back saying, hey, it's not the look, it's the carbon footprint that matters for both. And then someone else will jump in with the utility argument that gold actually gets used in electronics, something crypto doesn't have on a large scale, yet. And look, this isn't just theory, right? Back in 2021, El Salvador put this whole idea to the ultimate test. They became the first nation on earth to make Bitcoin legal tender. The goal was incredibly ambitious, to give banking services to the unbanked and to create totally new economic opportunities. It's this fascinating real-world experiment that's still playing out, showing us whether crypto can truly reshape an entire national economy. Okay, but for every bit of that promise, there is a powerful warning. We have to look at the other side of the coin here and really unpack the very serious criticisms that have been leveled against crypto. To really get a handle on the critiques, we first have to talk about one of the oldest scams in the book, the Ponzi scheme. It's a simple but devastating fraud where money from new investors is used to pay off the earlier ones. It creates this illusion of amazing profits, but it needs a constant flood of new money to survive, and mathematically, it is doomed to collapse. Of course, the Bernie Madoff scandal is the most infamous example we all know. So why did I just walk you through a Ponzi scheme? Well, because that is the exact comparison that critics are making. And we're not just talking about angry comments online. This right here is the actual title of a chapter in a serious academic book about financial manias. The argument is that crypto relies on the very same dynamic. New money has to keep coming in just to prop up the value for the people who got in earlier. And that leads us directly to another core criticism, something called the greater fool theory. The idea here is that the price of an asset isn't based on any real intrinsic value. Instead, it's based on the belief that you can always find a greater fool who will buy it from you for more than you paid. It's basically a high-stakes game of hot potato where any profit comes purely from speculation. So you've got these two totally opposite views, a revolutionary new asset class versus a speculative bubble. And this brings us to the most crucial point of this whole explainer. This conflict isn't being resolved by one side winning. No, instead, something else is happening. The Wild West of crypto is being tamed through regulation and integration. And believe me, this shift is real and it is happening right now. This isn't just talk, it's action. Over in Europe, the MiCA framework is rolling out. In the US, the IRS is bringing in new tax reporting rules, just like they have for stocks. And over in Asia, Hong Kong is building out a whole licensing regime. This is a coordinated, global wave of regulation, and it's happening fast. Let's just zero in on the US for a second. The IRS is no longer treating crypto like some niche hobby. There's now a direct question right on the main tax form asking about your digital asset activity. And very soon, brokers will have to issue a new form, the 1099-DA, to report your transactions to the government. The main takeaway here is, for tax purposes, crypto is being treated just like any other financial asset. Now, across the Atlantic, Europe is taking a different path, but it's just as powerful. Instead of having this messy patchwork of rules in every single country, the MiCA regulation creates one unified rulebook for the entire EU. This is a landmark move. It gives businesses and investors predictability and clarity across one of the world's biggest economic blocs. And then you look over to Asia, and Hong Kong is moving aggressively to position itself as a regulated global hub for this stuff. They've laid out this incredibly detailed roadmap they're calling ASPI. It's a proactive, strategic plan that shows they aren't just reacting to things. They are actively trying to build the future of this ecosystem on their own terms. And their approach is just incredibly methodical. A for access is all about making it easier for legit businesses to get licensed. As for safeguards is focused on protecting investors. P is for products, expanding what pros can trade. I is for infrastructure, upgrading the tech to catch the bad guys. And R for relationships is all about education. It's a complete 360-degree plan. So what does all this mean when you put it together? We're not really talking about crypto versus the traditional financial system anymore. What we're actually watching is the birth of a hybrid future where that disruptive technology of crypto is being merged with the established structures and safeguards of traditional finance. Really, the best way to think about this shift is a journey from a wide-open Wild West frontier to a much more structured walled garden. The era of crypto being this completely unregulated, permissionless space, that's coming to an end. It's becoming just another asset class, one that you can access through the same mainstream brokers you use for everything else. And this integration brings some undeniable gains, right? Stability, legitimacy, broader access for investors, but it forces a trade-off. As crypto enters the mainstream and gets all cleaned up, is it losing the very thing that made it so revolutionary in the first place? That radical vision of a completely decentralized, permissionless financial world? That is the question that's going to define its entire next chapter.